They want me to climb all the way to the shoulder.
Rio de Janeiro, early 1931. 700 metres above the city, an unfinished figure rises from the summit of Corcovado. Its concrete body is surrounded by timber platforms. Its arms stretch into cloud and wind. From the streets below, it already looks calm. Up here, nothing is calm. Workers balance on narrow boards, guide buckets through the scaffolding, and fight mountain gusts. Every sack of cement, steel bar, and timber beam has travelled uphill by rail, then by hand. On the cramped summit, supplies must arrive in sequence because there is almost nowhere to store them. Today, Christ the Redeemer seems inseparable from Rio. In 1930,
From the city, this looks peaceful. Up here, everything is moving.
it is still an engineering problem standing in the sky. The modern project began during preparations for the centenary of Brazilian independence. A cornerstone was laid in 1922, donations were gathered across the country, and the proposal led by Brazilian engineer Heitor da Silva Costa was selected in 1923. This was not simply a commission paid for by one wealthy patron. Fundraising reached schools, streets, church gatherings, and public events. People placed coins and small donations into a project most would experience only from far below. Before concrete reached the summit, the monument already depended on thousands of ordinary contributors. The familiar figure was not the first design. The original Christ held a globe and a cross, details that would disappear at mountain scale. Artist Carlos Oswald helped
That arm is concrete, and somehow it has to survive this wind.
transform it into a single readable shape, open arms forming a cross against the sky. Making that silhouette real required collaboration. Silva Costa directed the project. French-Polish sculptor Paul Landowski developed models for the head and hands. Engineer Albert Caquot helped solve the reinforced concrete structure. Brazilian crews turned those plans into something that could survive on Corcovado. The result would stand 30 metres above an 8-metre pedestal. The arms would span roughly 28 metres. It looked like sculpture, but it had to behave like a building. Even the pose created structural questions. A standing body naturally carries weight downward. These immense arms carried concrete sideways into open air, turning a gesture of welcome into the project's hardest engineering challenge. Major construction began in 1926. The Corcovado Railway carried people and materials through the Atlantic forest. Above the station, workers lifted and positioned everything on a small rocky platform exposed to rain, heat, and wind. Reinforced concrete gave the figure strength. Steel and concrete formed the torso, head, and horizontal arms. Each arm projected into empty air, exposed to wind. Its weight had to travel safely through the body and into the mountain. The workers saw formwork, rough concrete, ropes, pulleys, and measurements. Any mistake had to be repaired above the clouds. Concrete solved the structure, but it did not solve the surface. Rio's weather demanded a covering that could endure rain, sun, and temperature changes while following every curve of the figure. The answer was soapstone from Minas Gerais. Durable, workable, and softly reflective. The builders used a mosaic of
These tiny stones are becoming the skin of something enormous.
tiny triangular pieces, many only about 3 centimetres across. Away from the scaffolding, women arranged the stones on cloth and panels that workers could carry up and fix to the concrete. Some wrote names, prayers, or messages on the backs. Those words were not designed for visitors. Once a strip was attached, the writing disappeared forever beneath the surface. The visible monument was made from invisible acts of memory. Piece by piece, workers followed the curves of fingers, sleeves, and cheeks until the giant body appeared smooth from below. By 1931, the summit had become a vertical workshop. High platforms wrapped the torso. Ladders climbed toward the shoulders. From the end
They've written names beneath the stone. Nobody below will ever see them.
of an arm, the city seemed impossibly distant. The danger was repetitive. Another bucket, ladder, wet board, and gust of wind. Every worker depended on whoever tied the rope, positioned the plank, or checked the next section. Below, trams moved through Rio and ships crossed Guanabara Bay. Residents watched the silhouette change while the people building it remained almost invisible. As mosaic reached the upper body, a figure once confined to drawings and calculations became a presence over the city. The inauguration was set for the 12th of October, 1931.
The platform is barely wider than my boots. I hate this.
Pilgrims and visitors arrived from across Brazil. President Getulio Vargas attended. Aircraft scattered flowers above the gathering. Floodlights waited to turn the pale figure into a landmark visible after sunset. For the crowd, this was the first time years of fundraising. Arguments and construction became one completed image. They were not only looking at a statue, they were looking at the result of a national campaign that had survived delays, criticism, and the physical limits of the mountain. Radio pioneer Guglielmo Marconi was meant to activate the lights from Italy. The system failed, and local technicians ultimately switched them on. The monument still appeared above Rio, illuminated against the darkness, because engineers...
The lights may fail, but thousands of people are still waiting.
at the summit completed the final practical task. That detail contains the whole construction story. Every grand idea ended with someone physically solving the next problem. Christ the Redeemer became one of the world's most recognizable monuments. Its outline now represents Rio before a viewer sees the streets, the bay, or the mountain beneath it. Its meaning is carried by details too small to see. Steel inside concrete, stones pressed into cloth, writing sealed beneath the surface, and workers whose names never became famous. From a distance, the monument looks effortless. Up close, it is made from strain, calculation, repetition, and faith. Its open arms are remembered by the world.
They signed the inside of a monument the world would remember.
Inside its surface, thousands of private hopes remain turned toward the concrete, unseen but still part of the city.